2019 has been something so goddamn cool that I can't let go of it. It's so bizarre how such a year has changed from being so drastically, painfully awful to a brand new time. And so much is happening, so many new things on the horizon. I can't wait to show all of this to you. From new songs to new gameplay videos to all sorts of animations on the horizon. There's so much to look forward to. And what with also moving new house, getting to a new atmosphere, going to so many conventions, meeting all my friends, it looks like we're gonna be on the rise. And I cannot wait to show each and every one of you what we've got in the future. Though, something sticks in the back of my mind that I feel as though a lot of people may be staying in the past, and we'd like to talk about that. So essentially what it boils down to is leaks. For the past few days, I've been, wandering around several different places. I keep getting DMs, and by the way, I love the support that you guys have. You don't need to do it all the time. The less I know of it, the better. But the fact that people support me enough to say when somebody is leaking something that isn't supposed to be of their domain, or they're trying to recreate something. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about. I've made them in bullet points because I've tried recording this so many times, but at the beginning, I was frustrated, I was really angry, and then took a few days to collect my thoughts. I want to go through this as fresh as possible. So staying still on old projects is no new thing, and I'm pretty sure you know what song I'm talking about in this case. One that just isn't being let go of. And it's Instruments of Cyanide. No, not the final release, but a beta. It's baffled my mind so much because it was a default FL Studios brand thing. It wasn't something that I put heavy emphasis and thought into. I was very, very early in my stages, and I didn't think it fit the flow that I had, and it felt too much like it was somebody else's work and not really my own. So I decided to put the melody of Instruments, not the cyanide, but the instruments, to the side to be repurposed in the future. Because I did make a community post a few days ago, but there are a few interesting things that I'd like to talk to you about when it comes to music, and certainly a way to try and prove that it isn't about the game and it's about just general music. This might actually increase your diversity in terms of what you have in your Spotify playlist, at iTunes or Google Play, or even YouTube as a whole. We started our project Iris, and Iris is basically, if you want to put it into layman's terms, Onyx Colony 2.0, because essentially Onyx Colony was mostly me writing the music anyway. So I'm doing it again, just under a different name. I haven't really changed much. I may have expanded on musical terminology and EQ. I've experienced a lot more in the DAW field, like FL Studio. But as far as Onyx Colony's roots, we've stayed fairly true to it. In some remark. I can't say completely. We have had to change slight few things. But it's all in the aid of progress. But one Onyx Colony song that we made was, I think you know the title already. It's called I Will Not Be Moved. Now, I bet you're thinking, wait, that's a FNAF World song. How can this possibly be any better outside of FNAF World? Simple. Because that exact same song was written as an original song 10 years before FNAF World ever existed. It's a mind-blowing thing. Yeah, but you're like, that's just not right. You're playing with my thoughts here, Will. This ain't gonna make anybody pregnant. But when it boils down to it, this is just sheer proof that songs aren't just good based on the game. Which is why I want to talk about all the content creators that I've met, the blessings that I've had, the joyous times I've had with these people. And their struggles, too. They've been keen to say it, but a lot of them have just gone with the flow. And personally, I'm at a point where I'm like, did we really have to get to a point in music where we had to adjust? Where we had to adjust to the populace just for the sake of making something? I've seen so many people write original songs, and I've seen so many people want to put their foot into the, into the water. But it never actually works, because as long as they don't add a game title to their song, it won't get viewed. And I'll buy that. It could just be a gaming song, but not a game that you're familiar with. And my point here is that imagine if I Will Not Be Moved was never made into a FNAF World song and just stuck as an Onyx Colony song from the get-go. You guys would have probably missed out on a sick melody. And I do this based on, not off of my interpretation. I love all my babies, but a lot of the reception we got from that song. A lot of you would have missed out on a pretty hefty melody in which probably could have been put to use if listened to the old stuff. I remember a while back a lot of people were saying, "Where's the Torbjorn song?" And it was used for something. I mean, if you paid it, it's like I've done a complete reverse. I went from an original song to a game, and a game song to an original. So it was going to be a Torbjorn song, but a lot of the stems that I had the ideas for went into Kings and Queens. Same tempo, same scale, same sort of hook vibe. You know what I'm saying? Pretty self-explanatory. Again, I must do this. It's a shocking revelation, but a lot of people tend to stay for the game and not for the personality. And this just doesn't go for music in general. This goes for Let's Players and animators of the like too. Sure, all as content creators, we have to put our foot through the door somewhere. And with me, that was FNAF. Albeit before that, I even tried Nintendo. And I tried so many other different games in the horizon because I only had a Wii U. And then I got a custom PC and play games like Loadout and Outlast and all that stuff. And then FNAF came along. Fairly easy to work on my computer. There we go. I didn't think of it much then. But the point was it was popular. And I delved into something. And personally, I clicked with it. I thought it was going to be shit. I mean, everybody expected it by looking at the first fucking banner. But then it came up and it was an amazing game. Albeit not the best game, but, you know, again, that's my point here. When we all say this is a great game, we never mean best. Especially on DAGames, we always mean it's part of the gaming library that we know that we want to spread to you guys. Because we are DAGames. We want to play more than just the populist thing. And we'd like to think that if people went and saw a commentator play a video game and they laughed enough to sub for that, why can't you look at anything else? Because statistically speaking, in the creators field, not a single person changes their personality or changes their flow for whatever they do. I mean, obviously music is a different genre. I'm not talking about music here, but Let's Plays. In fact, hell, music as well. Because while we have different genres, the core principle of our writing stature never changes. So you would come to think that instead of just looking at the game, there's more on the field, you know? And it's fine, you step into the field. If you want to get a populist quick, then go into a field. But if you want longevity, you have to make sure that you're doing more than that. And as far as DAGames goes, and as far as a lot of other musicians that I've known are going, they're trying with this diversity. At least they are anyway. They weren't going to a while back, but now I'm seeing changes. And it's because we all care about video games. We love them. I'm a fan of nerdcore, if you can call it that, really. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people associate things with nerdcore, but I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't think I belong in there. Truth of the matter is, none of us really have a title. We don't really like to be defined as a genre because that's up to the people to decide, but we've always just thought, you know, music is music to us and it's a puzzle piece. And we want it all to work together in harmony. Breaking the rules, bending the rules, you know, all that stuff. This also falls down to, like, the leaks that I'm talking about. Is like, we've made more songs since then. And especially this year, we're going to be releasing at least 30. 11 or 12 you've probably heard already, but we'll talk about that later. But we're making so many different songs. We just released Meet Thy Maker, which to me was my great ending. But the same respect, that song was also going to be an Irish song. Yes, I sacrificed that melody and I sacrificed what I wanted to put in there for the sake of Bendy. And that to me is kind of why I'm disappointed, because there's no way that melody would have gotten as much traction if not for the face that's Bendy, you know what I'm saying? And that's the most shocking thing. By disregarding somebody else's content and putting them under false pretenses, you're actually detrimenting a lot of content creators to a point where eventually they just won't be able to make the music that you like anymore. And that to me sucks. Like, ruining somebody's life like that. I mean, I know they'd find a stature, and I know we all vary in different emotional intake, but at the core principle, we love what we're doing, and we want to keep doing it as long as possible. And we want to have fun with it, but there's only so long, and you know this as well, so long you can go before something gets just really tiresome, and you just want to move on. Now, it's worse for a content creator. You as a viewer don't have to bother with that. You can like something and for a long time and then go, I'll change my mind and then go somewhere else, you know? But for us content creators, it's much harder for us to move on to something when you guys aren't moving on with us. And it's the same with those leaks. Instruments of Cyanide is one of the many projects that just people will not let go of. And to a point where people are just trying to be us. They're trying to use the same instruments and use the same VSTs and use the same EQ. They fall flat a few times and their execution is a little poor. And the problem is, I mean, I was poor back then. We all have to start from somewhere. So there's no critique on that end. But aren't you supposed to find your own way? If you really want to get to the top in the industry, you gotta know your own VSTs. You gotta share. You gotta go around different places, research different things. I talked to so many content creators that use many different types of VSTs that vary from one another, and they get to produce the sound that they love the most. You don't have to stick to FL Studio's main stuff. I plead to try and do other things other than use like the Harmless tool and the Harmor tool and all that stuff. While they might sound nice, they're very, very limited and they're only complementary VSTs. They don't actually matter to me anymore as much as I've spent the money and spent the prowess in making better content. And this is a justification for you guys to maybe simmer down and maybe find some other VSTs to use because it's your path. You're supposed to pave the way for yourself. You cannot go around trying to copy other people. It's rude. Now I get it. If you're doing covers, then like you want to stay as true to the core as possible. At least singing it. I mean, you might suck at it, but that's when you get others to sing for you. They might suck too. Point is, a lot of you are too young to do this right now, to really get big in this industry. And I'm not talking about youth. I'm talking about experience. A lot of us have been in this field for a long time. Hell, CG5 has been in this since he was 5, I think. You know, like a long while ago, he mentioned that he'd been doing this most of his life. I've been only doing this for at least, I want to go on 11, 12 years of my life now. I'm only at where I am at the moment, but I've got so much more to learn. But that's awesome, because in that amount of time, I've been able to make my own sound, and that's baffling. There's just too many people who won't let go of something, and I know why some people say like, oh, because it was good. Well, here's another history lesson for you. That same melody can work for something else, and I'm still using that melody. That is going into something. But it won't be bendy. It will be something else. But I bet none of you would really care for that, would you? Because it's bendy at the end of the day, and you wouldn't be able to hear that sparkling melody unless you went to diverse content. And this is my point here. You're missing out on some of the most greatest songs. Hell, I've listened to so many songs from so many content creators that aren't related to bendy stuff, that aren't related to FNAF or these big Undertale hype things. I've heard them, and they're on my Spotify playlist. They're freaking phenomenal. People miss out on this stuff. When you put so much time and effort into an artist, you tend to realize that they have more to offer than just the one game. And DAGames here, we should know. We have that many hit singles. You should know by now that we are pretty diverse, but it never stops. We prove that we're diverse by getting a hit single in another brand new game somewhere down the line, but then everyone just sticks to that. Have you not learned by now that repeat history has taught you to diversify and jump? And now here's the thing. A lot of people might misconstrue this and say, oh, you've got to like every single piece of content somebody makes. Again, that's far from the truth. You are allowed to like whatever you like, but you've got to be justified in what you like and what you don't. You can't just say, oh, I don't like it because it's a different game. Bullshit. That's not an excuse. Those are just random words just to try and get out of even expanding your field. You are missing out on the point here, is if you follow an artist enough and you see them go in so many different fields and you've liked what they've done in those fields, you are guaranteed to be more of a fan of their other things too than just the gaming stuff. This does not mean you have to like everything on the planet. Please. That's even worse. When the only thing that you like is one thing, then you detract from everything else and you start building shrines, and that becomes unhealthy. You need diversity. Such as a lot of you guys will like BTS. I fucking hate them. But I like certain metal bands that you guys might not be into either. It's an each to their own thing. But if you've liked something for so long from the same artists and you continue that, you're gonna open yourself up to so many horizons. And I guess the final thing I want to talk about is just leaks in general. I have to put a stop to a lot of previews online because here's the thing. The reason why I put out leaks of my own online is because I want people to know that I'm working on something, because it takes so long and the YouTube's algorithm hates it when you don't upload after a period of time, which means we end up dying and then we end up having much more bigger struggle later down the line. Plus also we just love our fan base enough to have supported us this far. We want to show them what we've got to offer for the future. We don't give out a title, we don't give out an alias, we just have the melody right there, and then people can work it out for themselves. They have their own different vibes and interpretations, but that proves my point, is that it started from an original thing, and you had your own diversity to it, which means no matter where it is, no matter what genre or what game it is, you've already caught on that you like it, so it shouldn't matter. But that's been proven wrong again as well, because as soon as I put the game out that it is, they don't watch it because they can't find it, and then they go on Twitter like, where's this song, where's this song? And they assume it was for something else, when my whole point here is to prove that this is for original music. It's educational. I know you guys don't like education. You sometimes you get home to sit down and do homework, and you want to use YouTube to escape from that hellhole. As an influencer on this channel, as a person who's got a giant community, I do have to spread a level of compass if I'm to care about the growth of the future. If we're to expect that things are gonna grow out of proportion, and we don't do anything about it, then who are we? We're not really influencers. We're just guys looking for money. And that can be dangerous. I mean, yeah, sure, money's a prerogative. You know, if you want to have your house over your head, you know, that's no problem. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to take a level of responsibility as well. It's like being a chef in a kitchen. Like, you may have the fancy title and you get a payroll, but you are responsible for giving people food poisoning down the line and detrimenting your job. Same respect as musicians. Sure, we could just do this for the money. But I know me, personally, I care more about the community than I could making money. And that's been a given for a long time. I've used this platform as educational as possible, whilst trying to be funny, you know? I'm not trying to be like a stickler. I want to just show people there's more to life. Does not matter if you love my music more than games, it's fine. That's not what I'm getting at, because personally I'm happy with how it is right now, and if it grows then that's even better. But right now I'm fine. What I'm talking about is if you're looking at a channel that's specifically for music and you love that, look into that music more. Same with Let's Players. If you like the Let's Players that you're watching, look into their other games more. I'm not saying if you're a multifunctional channel, you have Let's Plays, music, animation, all that stuff, you gotta favor everything. Like, that's not it. That's cruel. That's controlling. And I should shut up. Again, do you get my point here? This is like a big therapy center thing for me. It's a long video, and I've had a lot to talk about, and I've tried to say this as example-based and proof-based as possible, as educational, informative, and as a little bit more laid back. Again, I'm not mad, just a bit disappointed that the world is going the way it is, and there's not really that many moral compasses trying to teach and educate. That I take a lot from, you know, bands like Foo Fighters in terms of moral compass. You know, Dave Grohl, for instance. I remember when he was talking about Nirvana, the way that they got famous was all they did was grab a shitty drum kit, go into a garage, and suck. And then their friends come around, and they suck too. But then they get better and they end up making Nirvana, the simplest shit. Now we have to supply with electronic compass and populist belief and stuff and abide by corporate principle to get somewhere. When actually that's a lot harder and less fun than just going into a garage, buying a shitty drum kit, sucking for a while but having fun with it, and there you go. My point being in that one is that you can suck at first. I did. I hated my projects now that I did back then. But look at me now. I'm making better. In my personal belief, I'm making better. And as long as I'm happy, that's all that matters. And hey, if nothing really comes out of this, then whatever. At least I've got my happiness. At least I know what I'm doing. At least I don't have to justify and prove things to anybody. Because they may say that, oh, well, you're not going to get the viewership. Well, refer back to this video and you'll see it's not really my fault here. I gotta get going. I'm sorry this isn't a gameplay video. We've been kind of busy this February. We've been working on songs, and we've also been trying to get to a new house, etc. This place will be repainted in about a month or so, but gonna use this as much as possible. Tomorrow, as the schedule implies, we're doing a stream. It'll be on Twitch, I think. I haven't streamed there for a while, so it won't be Kingdom Hearts, but there's something Kingdom Hearts related coming out this week, and I'm pretty sure you know what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. If you like what you saw here, click like and subscribe, share with friends and family, maybe your dog. Check out DAGames Official on YouTube for the latest information on music, animations, let's plays, and live streams. And make sure you linger around where you are. Maybe look back on some old songs that you haven't even heard of because of the game title. Delve in, see what you think. And that goes for everybody else too. Like all my favorite nerdcore musicians out there on the planet. This is a shout out to you as well. I hope you're doing well. I hope your work is doing fantastic. Keep up with the grind. Stay diverse. Stay passionate about what you do, and you'll be swimming. Will of DAGames. I'm going to see you all very soon. Peace out!